We are here with Hunter and Todd Stewart, who formed Racing2cure. Well, Hunter formed Racing2cure about 3 years ago, and officially back in November. So we have the founder, driver, and the president. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Now, Hunter, how old are you now?
I'm 10, and when I started racing go-karts, I was 5, and when I raced trucks, I was 7.
Wow, so you've got a lot of experience under your belt.
Yeah.
I hear you can drive better than most adults.
Yeah.
And how did you get the idea to start doing Racing2cure?
Because my mom had breast cancer, and I didn't want any other moms to get it.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing you're doing, raising money for that.
Thank you.
Now, how are you raising money?
It used to be when every lap I finished, I donated $5, but now we have a whole booth and stuff, and people would donate for T-shirts and wristbands and stuff like that.
Okay. Now, do you have a goal of how much you're trying to raise right now?
20,000. I raised 15,000.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, that's terrific.
And how are you? What are some of the things you're doing? You mentioned wristbands. You have T-shirts that you have for sale.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a couple of different programs that when Hunter first started 3 years ago, he just came with the idea. He actually came with the idea that after Alicia, my wife, was first diagnosed with breast cancer, that he was at his first off-road truck race, he was going to donate his winnings. And I said, well, you're 7, and I pay for your race. There are no winnings, unfortunately, but maybe someday. And so that kind of evolved into a race-a-thon, if you will. It was going to be every lap that he finished, he was going to donate 1 week's worth of his allowance. And it was going to be a one-race deal. That was going to be it. And it grew like wildfire, where he ended up being on we were living in San Diego at the time, and he ended up being on every local news channel, newspaper, and then actually was a guest on the Ellen DeGeneres show a few months later. And
famous.
Yeah, and so that went on for about 3 years, and then this last October, the NASCAR Foundation and Susan G. Komen had him as a grand marshal for their track walk at the Charlotte NASCAR race here. And so that's when my wife and I decided it's time, after 3 years of what he's just been doing on his own. He had a little booth at his races, that we formalized what he started. And so we've done that. We incorporated Racing2cure as a nonprofit and filed all of our paperwork to the IRS. And now we go around to different race-related events and venues. And we have a mobile retail booth that we sell T-shirts, wristbands, Susan G. Komen pins. We started a program called Helmets for Help, where we have currently about 15 different autographed helmets of NASCAR drivers. And so people can come and buy raffle tickets to enter to win the helmets that will draw the winners at the end of the NASCAR season this year. So a couple of different programs to help raise money for our cause.
That's great.
And what are some of the things that the cause does now, or the group does? You had mentioned earlier some other things that they do.
Right. We, especially with the way it started, and Hunter being our inspiration for this whole thing, when my wife went through it, unfortunately she's going through it again right now. It's the second time. But 3 years ago, when she went through it the first time, she didn't work. She was at home mother. And my mother-in-law came and lived with us. And even with all those resources, it was chaos at best when she was going through chemo. And our main goal, the first day my wife was diagnosed, she said, I want to keep our kids' life as normal as possible, which is relatively speaking when cancer's in your home. And so based on that theory and that idea, what we've gone out to do and try to do is help families that are currently going through it and provide very basic needs, transportation to and from soccer practice, transportation to and from swim practice, or to be in their school play, helping with tutors to do homework in the evenings, helping with transportation to and from chemo. And so very basic things to help the family stay normal as possible in the family. And so in each city that we go to, or each town we go to, we're going to provide a grant back to at least one family, and then hopefully grow it to more and more each time that are going through that process. Because going back and looking at what we were going through before, and now, again, we have my mother-in-law's back in town, my sister's in town, we have friends and family helping, and it's still very difficult. So I couldn't imagine a single mother or something like that has to go to work the next day after chemo. I couldn't even fathom that. So we want to go and help those people, and hope some of the larger foundations like Susan G. Komen, who we're a partner with, can provide the millions of dollars to find the cure, and then we won't be needed any longer.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
how have you helped some of the other little kids? You know, because you've been through it, and now, unfortunately, we're really sorry to hear a second time. What do you tell another child that has a mom or dad that's going through cancer?
That it's going to be okay at the end. Your moms are going to be okay, and it's going to be sad going through it, but it's going to be okay at the end.
Well, that's
great.
really wonderful that
That's
you can
great.
be there to provide that kind of support.
You are like a 30-year-old in a little 7-year-old body. So for the viewers, for the kids out there, I'm sure they want to hear about your racing. So what kind of car do you or truck do you race?
I used to race skill karts, but now I race trophy karts. And right now I'm not racing anything because I'm working at the booth and stuff, but we're going to try to race Bandoleros this summer.
Cool. I have a question for you because we have one picture where you're racing, you're up in the air, and your helmet's covered in mud. Can you see out of that thing?
At the beginning, I threw all my tear-offs off by accident, and then I just drew 2 little holes so I can see through it.
That race, and we have an information card that says "Never Give Up" with that picture on it. And that race was in Las Vegas. It was my fault. We didn't qualify. We had a mechanical problem. So he started in the very back of that race. Some kid hit a hay barrel. The track was muddy, as you can see, and he could not see, and he fought his way all the way to the front and won the race by over a half a lap.
Wow.
And so I got to the podium. He was up there holding his trophy. I'm like, "Hunter, how did you see?" He's like, "Oh, I have a hole, this big." And he did, but yeah, as soon as he go to take the green flag, I said, "Hunter, take a tear off so you can see," and he ripped all of them off at once, and he just never gave up, kept going, and won that race. So.
Oh, great job.
So let's give out your website. You're right there, so people, if they want to help and contribute.
Yeah, definitely. It's www.racing2cure.org, the number 2.org, and we're still in the development stage of the website, but we're going to get things up there interactive where people can bid on helmets, different things like that, and help out the cause, and a calendar of events where we're going to be at, and so forth, so on.
Great. Well, we'll keep your mom in our prayers, and thank you for coming on the show. You're doing a wonderful thing.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.